She had worked with the Hughes brothers. She really liked them. She had a good relationship with Tupac, and she just didn't want to get in the middle of it. And she thought, like, if she had done that movie, it would have been a little weird.
What's happening, baby?
And I wasn't in that bathroom, but, you know, it could have happened. But you're in the bathroom with this man taking a bath. So I don't know.
Larenz Tate just lit the internet on fire with a wild revelation in a recent interview. He hinted that Jada Pinkett Smith and Tupac might have gotten into something real unexpected while working on Menace 2 Society.
On set in New Orleans talking about that experience, I said, well, Jada, I talked to the Hughes brothers and you were supposed to be in the movie. And she says, I was. I said, why didn't you do the movie? That they kept saying they had the character Delilah, you know, who was the sister of Juanita, okay, you was going to be this revolutionary thing. And she was like, I just couldn't do it because at the time I was really close with Tupac, and Tupac had this sort of beef at the time with the Hughes brothers.
And no, this ain't about no movie scene. Now people are scrambling to figure out what really went down behind the scenes, because it's starting to look like Jada hasn't exactly been giving us the full story.
Alan Hughes was like, Tupac, why are you acting like a bitch? You're acting like a bitch right now. You're acting like a straight bitch. Let's step outside. This is what I hear.
Over the years, she's been calling Tupac her soulmate. Yet in the same breath, she once called their kiss disgusting. Like, what's really going on here? Why twist the story like that?
I'm pretty sure that kind of fucked him up when he showed up at the set and he wanted to get down with him. Like, nigga, we finna go up here and fuck up some shit. It ain't finna be no talking, ain't finna be no, you know, explaining. Tupac, like, we finna pull straight up there because he probably knew they're not gonna do anything. So let's just go up in there and start some shit.
And here's the kicker. Larenz might actually be exposing something major. He's been opening up about his time on Menace 2 Society, and in one interview, he dished on how tight Jada and Tupac really were.
Check this out. They fired me, but did it in a roundabout punk snitch way. So I caught them on the streets and beat they behinds. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like, I was a nigga to the Hughes brothers. And it ain't over. I still got more than what you said about me. Don't jump to the TV.
Turns out Jada was supposed to play Delilah in Dead Presidents, but passed on it, and later told Larenz why.
We met at Baltimore School of the Arts. It was the first day, and he came over to me and introduced himself. And in high school, Pac was a little funny looking.
You know, understanding that Pac and I had a hard time understanding why it just we didn't have it. And I talk about it in the book. You know, that being on the back porch of my house and we're like having this discussion. I'm like, okay, Pac, just kiss me. And he kisses me and it's the most disgusting kiss between us both. I mean, he pulled back just like, and I pulled back and I was like, see, dummy, you know, and from there it was just like, and then there was one more time he kissed me and it was just like, and I talk about that and in jail when I go to see him in Dannemora. That's a whole nother thing. And once again, it's just like, dude, doesn't work.
They linked back up years later on the set of Girls Trip, and Jada let it slip that she skipped out on that role all because the film was being directed by the Hughes brothers. Now here's where it gets real messy. Tupac and the Hughes brothers, they had serious beef. Pac got cast as Sharif in Menace 2 Society, but got kicked off the set for being too problematic. And Alan Hughes, he wasn't having it. Pac didn't let that slide. He pulled up to the set days later and straight up threw hands with Alan. It got physical, no cap. The Hughes brothers ended up pressing assault and battery charges on him. And guess what? Pac didn't even try to duck it. He owned it and did 15 days behind bars like it was nothing. With everything that went down, Larenz Tate is making it clear Jada didn't want to cross Tupac by working on a film backed by people who did him dirty. According to Larenz, Jada had a real bond with Pac, and didn't want to get caught in the middle of that mess.
I don't think there isn't anything that she hasn't lied about, even the nature of her relationship with Tupac. Like, she claims they weren't ever sexual, and I think she did that in order to make Will feel better. I think, in my opinion, Jada would lie to anyone in order to save what she feels is their feelings.
I remember one time when Jada moved in with me, we were on Hughes in Culver City, and I remember coming home. She ran out of the bathroom, and she's like, Tupac's Tupac's here, he's taking a bath. And, she came out with deer headlights. I don't know. I'm just saying I wasn't in that bathroom, but...
Taking that role in Dead Presidents, she felt it would have been off, even disloyal. But honestly, her loyalty to Tupac runs deep, and it's not that shocking. He's the whole reason she even landed a spot in Menace 2 society in the first place. When the role of Ronnie, a single mom, popped up, Jada was hesitant. She wasn't sure if she should even take it. Confused and on the fence, she nearly walked away from the whole thing.
Thought maybe you were going to tell her mom that she was in the bathrooms? And
I mean, she's grown now. She's over 18. She's 19 or whatever.
Was Tupac famous at this time?
Yeah, I think he was with Digital Underground at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
My version of it is that I forgot the girl that came in and she played in the house party, the black girl from House Party. I forgot. I keep forgetting. And she was in Baby Boy as Tyree's mom. She came. I hate when I wish somebody get a Wikipedia or something and look that up real fast. Who that name is?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. I mean, it's no problem.
Because I don't want to disrespect her because I think she's a brilliant actress.
And you said what movie was she in?
She was in Baby Boy.
Baby Boy. Oh, you talking about AJ Johnson?
AJ Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
AJ Johnson came in to play my girlfriend.
That's when Pac stepped in. He gave her that real talk and told her to go for it. In her own words, during an interview with Entertainment Weekly, she said, "I was questioning whether I should do it or not, and Pac was like, look, just because I'm not doing it, you should still do it." She even admitted, "I probably wouldn't have done it without his blessing." And let's be real, that blessing changed everything. After that debut, Jada started popping off in Hollywood, landing major roles in films like Set It Off, Jason's Lyric, and more.
When Jada came in, we matched. The energy was there. I looked at Alan looked at me, we looked at each other and said, that's the girl. So the Tupac thing, I don't think that was, maybe that was one of the things that she felt, or I know what me and Alan talked about and what we saw when we seen that energy. The same as when Larenz came in. We just knew the chemistry was there.
But even with all that, the fact that she passed on Dead Presidents just because of Tupac? That's wild. It's got folks raising eyebrows, especially Larenz. He's been low-key side-eyeing the whole situation, saying it didn't seem like just a friendly move. He straight up believes Pac wanted to work with her on anything just to get closer, and that Jada wasn't acting like this was just friendship. Jada and Tupac had been tight since their college days, and let's be real, that's not exactly the time when people were keeping things innocent. During one interview, Jada spilled that Pac was the new guy on campus when they first crossed paths. "It was my sophomore year," she said, "and he looked over and saw me, and just targeted me." She even joked about his little peanut head, calling him this happy, bouncy, full of life kind of guy. She was instantly like, whoa, the energy was crazy from the jump. And let's not forget, Jada once called Pac her soulmate. She said, "If there's such a thing as past lives, I definitely think that Pac and I have traveled a few together." That's not some casual friendship talk. That's deep. But wait, it doesn't stop there, because rumors say things got real behind the scenes. Word is, the two actually kissed on Jada's back porch. Yup, it happened. They couldn't figure out why they weren't more into each other. So one night, they decided to test the waters in the only way they knew how. But here's where it gets weird. Jada laughed it off later, saying they both pulled back like, what the hell? According to her, the kiss just didn't work. It was not for either one of us, she claimed. Still, fans weren't buying that soft landing. Why? Well, aside from all the signs and vibes, there was another bomb dropped by Jada's ex-assistant. She sat down with Tasha K for an interview, and it was messy. The assistant didn't hold back. She straight up said Jada's been lying for years. And then came the story. She claimed she once came home and walked in on Jada and Pac in the bathroom together. Yeah, let that sink in. Let's be real. There's no way Jada can explain that bathroom story without catching some serious side eyes, and it only gets messier from there. One time, Tasha K even floated the idea that Jada freaked out because she was scared her assistant might run and tell her mom. When asked about it, the assistant didn't deny it, just left folks more suspicious than ever. So, yeah, after that kind of tea, it's hard for people to buy into Jada's version of the truth and trust that was just the beginning of the rabbit hole. Because then there's the infamous letter Willow wrote to Tupac. And that one had the internet straight up in shambles. The letter read, "Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think that my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so mommy and me can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Love, Willow." Like, what? The girl was just a kid, and she's out here writing letters asking Tupac to come back so her mom and her can be happy? The internet went wild. One commenter said, "Does anyone else find the letter Willow wrote kind of odd?" Like, weren't her parents together at the time? Did Jada really go around telling her kids she's not happy with their dad and would rather be with Tupac, who wasn't even alive anymore? And just when you think it can't get any deeper, we find out Pac dedicated a poem to Jada in his 1999 poetry book, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. The poem was titled Jada, and it's straight up emotional. "You are the omega of my heart, the foundation for my conception of love. When I think of what a black woman should be, it's you that I first think of. You bring me to climax without sex, and you do it all with regal grace. You are my heart in human form, a friend I could never replace." People were stunned. How do you read that and think it was just platonic? And get this. During an interview on the All the Smoke podcast, Jada herself dropped another bomb. Pac actually proposed to her while he was locked up. Her response? "I knew at that time that he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was gonna do anyway. He didn't have to marry me to do that. I was already there," Jada said, brushing off the prison proposal. According to her, Tupac just needed a rock, someone solid to lean on. Their bond ran deep, and with everything they'd been through, she claimed he just wanted that security, that unshakable foundation. But with all this evidence stacking up, it's getting harder and harder to believe there wasn't something more going on. And let's not forget, some folks believe Pac might have helped get her that role in Menace 2 Society just so they could get closer behind the scenes. But not everybody's buying that version of the story. Enter Tyrin Turner, the lead actor in the film. He straight up shut that theory down. He said Jada didn't get the role because of Tupac. Point blank. According to him, the directors held legit readings for the part. They were looking for someone who matched Tyron's energy, and Jada showed up like everyone else and earned it. He also mentioned that director Alan Hughes wasn't the kind of dude to take recommendations just for the sake of connections. In fact, when Alan tried to cast Tyron in the lead role, the studio itself wasn't feeling it. But Alan went with his gut and hired him anyway, even with all the pushback. Now, as for the Jada and Pac romance rumors, she's been dodging them for years. She's always insisted that they never had a physical relationship. In one interview, she said flat out that the spark just wasn't there. There was no chemistry, she said. But the interviewer pushed back, saying the chemistry between them seemed obvious. That's when Jada came with this wild explanation. "It's that friendship-love chemistry. It was like God made us that way. Like, I'm gonna put y'all together, right? Y'all gonna be a dynamic duo, but I'm gonna make sure y'all can't be together. That just wasn't the purpose." She even doubled down in a piece for Time magazine, writing, "There were no errors between us." Still, with all that's been said, fans aren't convinced, because the more she tries to explain it, the messier it sounds. Either we could be raw and authentic without the constraints of having to impress each other. There were no butterflies, no tingles in the body, no hot desire to be in each other's embrace. That's what Jada said, trying to paint their bond as deep but strictly friendly. She called it something stronger, a friendship powerful enough to help them survive some of the darkest chapters of their lives. But fans ain't buying it. To this day, folks think Jada is still covering something up when it comes to Pac. For whatever reason, she hasn't exactly built a rep for being the most honest out there. One person online said it best: there is far too much chemistry coming out of those pictures for absolutely nothing physical to have happened. And honestly, they might be right. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe they tried it and figured they were better as friends. But with Jada constantly flipping the story, people are starting to believe she's not just protecting a memory. She's shaping the narrative to control how people see her. From the way she talks about Pac to the raw energy they shared in every pic, video, and interview, it's hard to shake the feeling that something real did go down. Even Larenz Tate couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at how close they were on the Menace 2 Society set. Like they were filming a whole different kind of scene when the cameras weren't rolling. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Did Pac and Jada have something more than just friendship? Was Larenz right to suspect they had their own secret movie going on while filming Menace 2 Society? Let us know in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your thoughts, 'cause we always read what y'all gotta say. See you on the next one. It's only getting messier from here.